Okay, in this next video we're going to talk about some simple ways to pad over a 1-4-5 in the key of D. And let's take a progression like this where we're just going D, 2, 3, 4, D, 3, 4 to G, 2, 3, 4. So two measures of each to A, something nice and slow, back to D. Now, the way that I might pad this is first I might do a line like this. So I'm going to play the whole line so you can kind of hear it. Again, 3, 4. So what I'm doing is I'm thinking about 3 different triads that I can voice lead pretty simply. And those triads are this. I have my D triad here, so if I think of just a D triad without the B bender, here's my D chord here. Now if I get rid of this pinky finger, and by the way, this triad is at the 7th fret as far as where the root is, starts at the 7th fret on the G. There's my D note, there's the 3rd of the chord, and there's the 5th. Right, so there you go. And what I'm doing is I'm getting rid of that pinky and I'm bending in to the 3rd of the chord. Well, I want to put this other part of the triad on the bottom, right? So if I look at my D chord here, I want to put this note on the D string, 7th fret on the bottom of the chord, because I like having a 5th on the bottom of some of these chords here. So now I can get the same thing, a little bit, or actually a little bit thicker of a triad there. And what I'm doing is I'm just arpeggiating in my right hand. I'm hitting strings 4, 3, 2, bending, 1, 2, letting go of the bend, back to 3, and then hitting the D string again. Right, so there's a cool kind of way to use a D chord pad using this shape. And now I think of this G chord here, right? So this D shape, but since it's up here at the 8th fret, it is a G chord, right? Because my ring finger's 8th fret on the B string. Now if I extend this triad, here is a 3rd on the bottom, so really the entire triad, you could think of it this way, right? This D shape with this 9th fret on the D string, and that's also part of a G chord. So since I'm kind of basing my roots off of, or basing some parts of the triad off the D string, I can also do this on this 2nd triad there. So what I'm doing is I'm sliding in from 5 to 7, 7 to 9 on the D string to enter into this G chord. So I slide in, grab the 7th fret on the G, and then 8th fret on the B string. Get my index here, just like I would with this shape. Move it back, my index here, and then hit that same part of the triad 9th fret D string, right? So the lick is, right? There you go. There's a nice little pad you can do there. Now, in order to get to my A chord, right, here's a nice A chord right here. If I think about that triad, an F-shaped triad with the root on the 7th fret D string, which is an A, I get my A chord there. Now, since it's the 5 of this progression, I kind of want to get a flat 7th. So what I'm going to do is use my B bender by grabbing the 7th fret on the B string and the 7th fret on the D string, pinching both those strings and then just bending up a half step. Then I'm going to finish out the rest of that phrase right by grabbing strings 2 and 3 and 3 and 4 on that F-shaped A triad. So it sounds like, yep. There's my open A string. Might as well use it to bass up that A chord. So if I put all that together, again I have back to my D chord. And you can kind of play around with that. So basically, when I'm going through major chords on my B bender, I really want to try and voice lead into triads that are a step or a half step away. So for instance, here's my 1 chord, the D chord, with no bender, right? All of the notes in the G chord are a step or a half step away. And then all of my notes in the A chord, just about, are a step or a half step away too. So I want to keep these triads real close together. Instead of doing something like this, well, that would work too. But it's cool to voice lead as well. All right, so give that a shot.